welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. This early Friday afternoon video is going to be a positive, happy post-match review of Celtic's brilliant 3-1 away win against Feyenoord in Rotterdam, Holland on Thursday evening. Massive confidence builder for the whole Celtic squad in what will almost certainly be Martin O'Neill's last game as Celtic's manager in Europe. The expectation is that his last Celtic game as a manager in this caretaker role will be the game against Hibs on Sunday, and then handing over to Wilfred Nancy. And the signing of Nancy and his coaching staff is expected over the next 48 hours or so, if all goes to plan. So in this video, we're going to have a wee look at the key incidents, the goals, the chances, the saves, one or two other incidents in the match, some stats, some player ratings for Martin O'Neill's performance as a manager, and one or two other wee thoughts as we go through. So Martin O'Neill sprung a wee bit of a surprise with a couple of his selections, starting Luke McCowan on the right wing, although he more was playing as an additional midfielder, and surprisingly playing Ha-Yoon Yang out on the left wing in place of Dyson Maida. Dyson Maida moving into the middle in place of Johnny Kenny, and not too unexpectedly, Colby Donovan came in at right back. And to be thoroughly fair, pretty much all of O'Neill's selection choices worked out really well. Maybe not so much the role of Luke McCowan as a right winger. However, as I say, his role was more as an additional midfielder, which actually on a few occasions proved very useful for Celtic, although did mean that we were a wee bit lacking penetration and width down the right-hand side. Celtic actually started really well, nice and positive, started on the front foot, put Feyenoord under pressure. Colby Donovan forced a corner in the 6th minute. Nice delivery into the box. Luke McCowan completely free with an open goal 2 yards out, somehow managed to hit the ball onto the bar. And then the ball was deflected wide. The assistant referee put up his flag for offside, which kind of spared Luke McCowan's blushes, although it turned out, had it gone to VAR, it would appear that the last touch before it got to McCowan actually was off a Feyenoord defender, and so McCowan actually was in an onside position when he missed from 2 yards. After that, Feyenoord did get back into the game a wee bit, then hit Celtic on a very quick break, cutting open Celtic's defence with a nice long ball to one of the Feyenoord wide players. Tierney and Scales got kind of drawn across. The ball then was squared to Ueda, the Japanese striker, who hit a very good left-footed finish back across Kasper Schmeichel into the far corner. And after 11 minutes, Celtic, possibly a wee bit unluckily and undeservedly, were 1-0 down. Feyenoord did have a couple of wee half chances after that, but nothing really causing major difficulties in Celtic's defence. And Celtic got back on top in the game, took control of midfield. Wonderful ball by Luke McCowan into Rio Hatate, who'd made a brilliant run in behind the Feyenoord defence. He then lobbed an inch-perfect pass to the far post, and Ha-Yoon Yang coming in off his left wing smashed the ball into the net, getting Celtic equal after 30 minutes. Feyenoord did get a wee bit of a toehold back in the game straight away in the 33rd minute. Austin Trusty did exceedingly well to hold up a couple of the Feyenoord attackers, allowing Kasper Schmeichel to make an easy save with the ball going for a corner. After that, Celtic again got back on top, and in the 42nd minute, some brilliant hassling and pressure from Dyson Maida closing down the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper then hit a poor clearance straight to Rio Hatate, who had an open goal, and Hatate did a very accurate, quick first-time shot straight into the goal, and Celtic 2-1 up in 42 minutes, and Celtic carried that lead through to half-time. Celtic came out of half-time, lots of energy, lots of positivity, and carried on their dominance of Feyenoord all over the pitch. Some brilliant, brilliant passing for the next 20 minutes or so. Feyenoord scarcely ever getting much chance to make any form of attack. And some very, very good, accurate passing, probing away at Feyenoord. And it was an excellent performance for around about 20 minutes, although the only real chance in that period was a nice, good curling free kick from the edge of the box by Arne Engels, curling it round the wall and back inside the post. However, not quite enough pace to beat the Feyenoord goalkeeper, who made a smart save diving to his left at the left-hand post. Feyenoord did slightly get back into the game around about the mid-60 minutes of the game. Kasper Schmeichel making a good save in the 68th minute. And then in the 71st minute, Feyenoord had a series of 3 corners. From the first corner, Callum McGregor headed the ball off the line. Second corner, Celtic did very well to block the shot, again away for a corner. Third corner, into the box, header by one of the Feyenoord players onto the bar. Ball then rebounded. Another shot by a Feyenoord player. This time was very well blocked by Austin Trusty. There was a claim for a penalty, however, it clearly wasn't a penalty, and VAR agreed, and Celtic managed to repel that series of attacks and got back on top in the game. Nice cross into the box by Colby Donovan. Dijsselmeyer then pressurised the Feyenoord defender and goalkeeper. Ball then broke to Benjamin Nygren, who hit a great left-footed shot just in off the bar, giving the Feyenoord defenders and goalkeeper no chance at all. And in the 81st minute, Celtic had a 3-1 lead, and the lead they carried through to the end, with really only one other chance for Feyenoord. Back post header by Ueda, the Japanese striker, which went into the side netting, although I do think had it been on goal, Celtic would have been able to stop it being a goal. So 3-1 win for Celtic. Brilliant result for Celtic, moves them up into 21st place, 7 points and goal difference of -1. A lot of predictions that 10 points or 11 points should get a team through to the knockout phase. And so with our 3 last games against Roma, which will be at home in a couple of weeks' time, Roma currently lying 15th. And then after the Christmas break, around about mid-January, we'll be playing Bologna away from home in Italy. They're currently 18th place. And the final game at the very end of January will be at home to Utrecht. Utrecht currently lying in 32nd place with 1 point. And I think Celtic do have every possibility of getting points against Roma home, Bologna away, and a win at Celtic Park against Utrecht at the end of January. And so I think Celtic have every chance of getting through to the first knockout round. And after that, it's a 2-legged affair. And as Celtic proved last year against Bayern Munich, I think Celtic do have the capacity to win games and get good away results, particularly if they defend as well as they did yesterday evening in Rotterdam against Feyenoord. Now, moving on to the stats for the game. The stats actually are, for me, rather interesting. Not a lot of fans like stats, but I think they are very interesting and often show where the power and the dominance in the game has been. However, the stats actually for Feyenoord against Celtic are remarkably equal. Possession was 51-49 in Celtic's favour. Feyenoord actually had a lot more shots, 14-6 by Celtic. However, Celtic had 4 on targets, and did Feyenoord. Just 2 off targets by Celtic, 5 off targets by Feyenoord. with Celtic blocking 5 Feyenoord shots, which I think is another very important stat. Touches in the box actually quite low for both teams, 23 for Feyenoord, 15 for Celtic, so it does show that Celtic were much, much more efficient when they got the ball into the box. They got shots on goal, and when they got shots on goal, 3 out of the 4 went in the net. Just one save for the Feyenoord goalkeeper, whilst Kasper Schmeichel made 3 saves, a couple of which came just at the right time to keep Celtic in the game and preserve the lead. And corners was 6-2 in favour of Feyenoord. So again, despite the fact that Celtic maybe didn't get into the final third of Feyenoord as much, they actually controlled the game for long, long spells and were good and efficient in the final third and in and around the box, and defended very, very well to keep Feyenoord from putting Kasper Schmeichel under too much pressure. Passing stats also remarkably similar. Celtic 485 passes to 464 by Feyenoord. Accuracy was 87.2 to 87.1, so in essence exactly the same. Backward passes by Celtic 77, 78 by Feyenoord. Forward passes for Celtic 134, Feyenoord 131. Lateral passes 274 by Celtic. Final third, Celtic had 73 successful passes to 66 by Feyenoord, and 16 crosses for Celtic, 18 for Feyenoord. So again, showing that Celtic did a great job of defending and stopping Feyenoord getting the ball into the box, stopping Feyenoord getting any good concerted attacks. And although Celtic's stats for final third passes and crosses were down from what they have been in recent matches, they were much more efficient. And although there was a large number of lateral passes, 274 out of 485, the backward passes were less than they have been over recent weeks, certainly much, much less than they were under Brendan Rodgers, and all around a great performance by Celtic. In terms of manager rating, I've given Martin O'Neill an 8 out of 10. His selections in the starting lineup all really worked. Donovan was one of Celtic's best players at right back. Yang had a very good performance, hassled and defended and helped out in midfield, tracked back to help the defence, some nice positive runs down his left wing, a couple of crosses into the box, maybe not quite so good as they could have been. However, he came in at the back post and put Celtic equal in the 30th minute. So one of Yang's best performances for Celtic. McCowan maybe didn't work quite so well as a right winger, but as I say, he did work well as an extra midfielder at several points. And bringing on Nygren worked out well. He scored the third goal. Some good defending by Murray, and Bernardo and Ralston came on to shore up the victory at the end, covering for Colby Donovan, who might have a wee bit of an injury. Janetke was a bit disappointing, but I still think taking off Yang around about the 70th minute was a good option, although Janetke didn't really deliver in terms of performance. It still was a good performance by Martin O'Neill in terms of selections and substitutions, and I think his tactics and wee tweaks here and there worked really, really well for Celtic. So a good, strong 8 out of 10 for Martin O'Neill in what's likely to be his last European game as a Celtic manager. Finally, moving on to my ratings for the players. Haven't actually nominated a man in the match because I thought so many Celtic players played equally well. And no Celtic player was clearly above any other. However, apart from Chinyeki, I thought all the Celtic players delivered good performances up to very good performances. So Kasper Schmeichel, I've given a 7 out of 10. Made a couple of nice smart saves, got the ball out of his defence well, coped well with slightly hurried back passes at a couple of points, looked nice and calm and reassured. Also, after Celtic equalised in the 30th minute, he was very vocal, encouraging the players to keep going and concentrate and keep on the front foot. And it was a good performance by Kasper Schmeichel. 7.5 for Colby Donovan. I thought he defended very well. I think he's stronger, faster, better in the air than Ralston, better at getting forward into midfield. A couple of nice incursions into the final third. He had a cross that set up the corner in the 6th minute that McCowan should really have put in the net. And he had the cross in the 81st minute that led to the Negrin third goal. So well done to Colby Donovan. Did look like he might have had a wee bit of a foot injury late in the game. He kind of limped off around about the mid-80s of the minutes. Hopefully he's fit and well for the game against Hibs on Sunday. Hopefully it's just a wee bit of bruising and soft tissue injury. The two centre-backs are given, Trusty and Scales, both 7 out of 10. They defended well, they generally passed well, they looked calm under pressure, they pushed forward to keep Celtic on the front foot. They, apart from really a couple of breakaways by Feyenoord, Trusty, Tierney and Scales defended very well. Scales swapping over to left back when Murray came on for Tierney late in the game, and Scales did a pretty good performance as a emergency left back. Kieran Tierney I've given 7 as well. Not really getting forward terribly much. Did have a couple of crosses. Worked well, however, in defence. Helped Liam Scales on a couple of occasions. Kind of nullified most of the threat down the right-hand side of Feyenoord's attack at Celtic's left. Was taken off with around about 20 minutes to go. And was replaced by Murray, who moved into central defence, with Scales going over to left back. But good performance by Kieran Tierney. 7 for Callum McGregor. Good performance by McGregor. Some nice passes, some nice breaking up of play in midfield. Playing a wee bit deeper, controlled the game, and was much more insightful and incisive with his passing. So well done to Callum McGregor. I've given 7.5 to both Engels and Hatate. I think it's the best performances the two of them have put in this season. Hatate, part of setting up the first goal with his pass to Yang, scored the second goal and was all over the pitch, playing a wee bit further forward than he has been in recent weeks, and he generally let him control midfield alongside Engels and McGregor. So well done to Hatate. Engels playing a wee bit deeper alongside McGregor as a sort of double pivot, and I think it worked really, really well. Some good breaking up, some nice tackles, some nice passes, a couple of nice deliveries from dead ball situations, and he nearly scored with that direct free kick in the 58th minute. So well done to Arnie Engels. Luke McCowan I've given 6.5 to. As I say, didn't really pose much of a threat as a conventional right winger. However, several nice passes and breakups in midfield. Lovely pass to set up Hatate to set up Yang for the first goal. And playing a wee bit out of position in an unaccustomed role, I think McCowan did a pretty good job. So 6.5 for him. 7 for Ha-Young Yang and Daisen Maida. They both worked very, very hard. Yang scored a goal, worked really well in midfield, helped out in defence, was all over the pitch. Some nice runs, not the best delivery into the box at times, but probably his best performance of this season. And it does look like Martin O'Neill's given him a whole bundle of confidence. And I would expect on Sunday he'll be starting again against Hibs, and hopefully he can deliver the same sort of performance. And I would also guess that Maeda will start through the middle again on Sunday. Wasn't too much of a threat in front of the goal. However, he did, with his pressurising and hassling of the defenders and goalkeepers, help set up the second goal and the third goal. So 7 for Maeda as well. In terms of the sub, 6.5 for Benjamin Negrin. 1 or 2 nice passes and breakups in midfield, and as he does so well, he broke into the box, was there for the Maeda pass to smash the ball in off the bar to give Celtic a 3-1 lead and pretty much guarantee the win. Murray, I've given 6.5. Some nice passes, looked comfortable in defence, looked like he benefited from having Austin Trusty by his side and Kasper Schmeichel behind him. And this time, unlike against Hearts, Donovan and Murray played well as a duo on the right-hand side of the defence, so 6.5 for him. Tunecki have given 5.5. A couple of times he gave the ball away sloppily in midfield. He was set through by Engels with a really good chance. However, he completely fluffed his lines and tripped over the ball, wasting the chance. I think he was the one Celtic player who had a subpar performance, and 6 for Paulo Bernardo and 6 for Ralston. Came on around about the 83rd minute, helped shore up the Celtic victory at the end. Neither really did anything particularly great. However, neither made any mistakes and kept Celtic secure in midfield and secure in the back four, and so 6 for both of them. Time of recording, a wee bit after 12 noon on Friday afternoon. Still no confirmation of Wilfred Nancy and his coaching staff moving to Celtic to be the new management team at Celtic. However, the expectation is that the announcement of that will be over the course of the rest of Friday or possibly on Saturday. And in his post-match interviews, Martin O'Neill was pretty much confirming that he will be having his last game as Celtic's interim caretaker manager on Sunday. And after that, he said he was looking forward to going back to his life in London and drinking cups of coffee. I suspect that one way or another he will remain involved at Celtic, more in an advisory role or possibly, a lot of speculating that he may be offered some form of role on the board or as a director of football. I do think his passion for Celtic has been rekindled. I think his enjoyment of being closely involved in a football club has been rekindled, but I don't think he would want to commit so much of his time, age 73, to being in Glasgow at helping Celtic day in, day out, as many of the roles being put forward by fans and journalists are suggesting. However, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if he has an advisory role or an ambassadorial role or something along those lines to keep himself involved at Celtic. So that finishes off today's video. As we go, just a wee polite suggestion for those not yet subscribed to the channel, please do click that subscriber button. Keep the numbers pushing up to the 1,500 level. 1,500 by Christmas would be absolutely brilliant, so do pass on details of the channel if you do like the channel, or do pop your pleasant, polite comments, thoughts into the comment section. Also, particularly regarding the performances, the ratings, and the future for Celtic. And so until the next video, which will be probably sometime on Saturday as a preview of the Hibs game on Sunday, until then, goodbye and hail, hail.